Joining me now, McCain campaign spokesperson Brian Rogers. Brian, it's good to see you on this Sunday.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you first about Colin Powell's endorsement of Barack Obama. I know that Powell and John McCain call each other friends, so this has got to be very disappointing.
Well, as Senator McCain said this morning, he has the highest amount of respect and admiration for General Powell. But the reality is that Senator McCain has been endorsed by over 300 retired admirals and generals. He's been endorsed by 4 former secretaries of state. The reality is that this is really a choice between two men who have very different levels of experience. John McCain has served in the United States Navy for 22 years, has been on the forefront of our biggest national security challenges stretching back decades, and Barack Obama, who has no similar experience. So obviously General Powell has earned his right to have his voice heard, but it's ultimately a decision based on the preparedness to lead as Commander-in-Chief, and we think John McCain certainly wins that test.
If Barack Obama does not have that experience, Brian, then neither does Sarah Palin, and yet John McCain thought she was suitable to choose as a running mate, as a vice presidential running mate, and someone who potentially could be in the Oval Office. So how does he explain that discrepancy?
Well, he picked Governor Palin because he believes that she's exactly the kind of person that can help him shake up Washington and take on the status quo, and that's really the basis of what she's going to do as vice president. And she does have a lot of great experience, particularly on key issues like energy. So you know, we're very happy about Governor Palin and what she's done for our ticket. And we're looking forward to these last 16 days. You
know, it's interesting because Colin Powell specifically mentioned the fact that John McCain chose Sarah Palin. He said that he disagreed with it, that he did not think that she was prepared to be president. And he also talked a little bit, Brian, about the negative campaigning he thinks the McCain campaign is engaging in. I want to play part of that.
And I've also been disappointed, frankly, by some of the approaches that Senator McCain has taken recently, or his campaign has, on issues that are not really central to the problems that the American people are worried about. This Bill Ayers situation that's been going on for weeks became something of a central point of the campaign. But Mr. McCain says that he's a washed-out terrorist, but then why do we keep talking about him?
If a notable Republican like Colin Powell is responding to those negative attacks that way, how do you think that regular Americans, independent Americans, people who have not made up their minds, are responding?
Well, we think it's important to raise questions that are on people's minds about the nature of that relationship, and really, it's really about Barack Obama and his lack of candor about that relationship. It's not so much about a washed-up terrorist. It really is about Barack Obama's inability to be honest about that relationship. And if he can't be honest about the little things, how can we expect him to be honest about the big challenges that we face?
But Brian,
and I think that's really
Barack Obama even said in the last debate, he explained the relationship, that they had served on a board together, that's where he met. He refuted John McCain's claim that that Barack Obama launched his political career in Ayers' living room. He refuted that. So how many more times does he have to explain that relationship before it gets through and before that's the end of it?
Well, he hasn't really come clean on this issue. He's never explained when he first learned.
Come clean how?
Come clean about. He's never explained when he found out that Bill Ayers had a past as an unrepentant terrorist. He's never said when that occurred and what he did about it.
But what he has said is that he found those activities abhorrent, that he did not support them, and that his relationship was a cordial relationship that you might find with anyone who sits on community boards or governing boards or charity boards. I mean, you have a different mix of people when you decide to serve on an advisory board.
Well, I think their relationship has been described by one of Barack Obama's top and earliest supporters, the mayor of Chicago, Richard Daley, as friends. By his own support, by his own campaign, as certainly friendly. So, and when he goes out in a debate and says, "Oh, this is just a guy who lived in my neighborhood," that's not being honest, and that's not being straight. And if he can't be straight about this issue, how can we expect him to be straight about the big challenges that we face?
I know a busy couple weeks in store for everyone who's working on these campaigns. So, Brian, I certainly appreciate that you're spending a few minutes with us. Thank you.